Hello everybody, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name's Adam Smith. We're playing through the Unreliable Medicine, and in the last video we stopped mid-round or closer to the end of the round. I just want to make sure we pick up exactly where we left off so that nobody's confused. So what we did at the very end of that last video was we gone ahead and we created two single hex obstacles in adjacent empty hexes. They have to be empty. So we went ahead and we put them here and here. I'm doing this for two reasons. One, I want to funnel this guy straight through the rocks, and I want to hit him later on with a proximity mine from the Tinker. That's my plan. But I also want him to come here because I'm first and foremost ahead and closer, and I can also later on with the Craighheart potentially, let me just put this back here because I moved it away. I can actually use a push 2, which is the crater here, in a later turn, and actually be able to push him into a trap. So we can actually get a trap, like 2 traps to go off on him and really take him out pretty fast, hopefully, or at least for a decent amount of damage. And we're not completely blocked. We can kind of come around behind him. My other characters can run around, so we're not totally screwed. One thing I wanted to make sure I do is to bump up the leaf element all the way to the top of the track, because we've gone ahead and did this. So this goes all the way up to the top. And then this card is discarded, it's not lost. So this goes into the Craigheart's discarded pile. So now the Craigheart is resolved. We did not finish the Earth Demon's turn because we were in mid-turn last video. So we'll go ahead and finish his turn. So we know he's gonna move. Now we know that he has 2 movement as an elite character, right up here. And then he's got +1. So he's gonna move 3 to the closest individual focused on first before initiative. So his closest individual is the Craigheart. So 1, 2, 3. It's going to put him right here, which is a little nasty, and we're going to have to suffer an attack from him. But it's part of the game. It's part of the plan. I shouldn't say it's part of the game. It's part of the plan. So his attack is nasty. It's a 4. Now he doesn't have any bonus from this, and there's no wind element to consume. That's what that tiny little crossed out element is, which says -2 on attack. So if there was a wind element to consume, it would get consumed, and his attack, being that he's an earth demon, would be a little less strong, I'm assuming is what happens there. So we don't have anyone, I think, that can manipulate wind, so it's not something we can really do. I'm assuming that's his, wind is his weakness. So we'll go ahead, and he's going to do his attack. It'll be at a 4, and we'll just have to see what happens, but it's probably not going to be nice. So -1, so not bad. So 3, totally, we can totally take that. I don't really want to, but it's doable. So I'm gonna have the Craigheart take that damage, and I guess I could have, and I realize some people might be screaming at the screen going, why didn't you go invisible? You could have gone invisible in your turn. You know what, it wouldn't have been a bad idea, but then the focus would have been lost. I guess he would have still kind of headed this way, but we'll wait and see, because maybe going invisible in the next turn makes the most sense, as we can kind of go around him, cause him a little bit of problems. But we'll see how it goes. But using invisibility, the invisibility cloaks that we have, or these cards right here, might be a wise choice. So he's essentially here. He's done his move. He's now done his attack, which did 3 damage to us, dropping us from 10 to 7 on the Craigheart. And that's essentially the end of the round, because he was the last person to go. So, being that's the end of the round, we have to do the end of round cleanup. So we're going to move our elemental track back down for the leaf. Is waned down. In terms of cleanup for anything shuffle-wise, my modifier deck for the Craigheart needs to be shuffled, so I'm going to do that now. In terms of other decks, I don't think there are any other decks that require shuffling. I think everything else was fine. It's fairly easy at this point because we don't have too many enemies on the board. So that's good. I'm just doing my awesome one-handed shuffling here. Okay, and all right. Okay, so that's done. And then we're short resting? No, because we have lots of cards left and we're in the middle of a battle. So now we get the fun part, is we get to plan something. And the thing I can tell you that I'm doing right off the hop is I need to push this guy away from us. So we're gonna look at the Craigheart first for picking our 2 cards. The one here that says attack 3, range 3, allowing us to consume a leaf element in order to push. We have that right now. We need to take advantage of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this card here to 61. Now we need something that will get him to go really early in the round. as well. And need something that will likely do some damage. Now he is beside us now, so something like Immobilize could help. But if we immobilize him, now that's kind of an interesting question. It says if a figure is immobilized, it cannot perform any move abilities on his turn. So how that would work is we can actually immobilize him and shove him away so that on his turn he still can't move, which is kind of funny. But we could do that because it is actually a fairly powerful attack and may not be a bad idea. It is 35, which is relatively early, and that's where it gets dangerous because it might be better to just play 13 at a 2 attack, like in the bottom corner here, to guarantee that we can attack him, but then at the same time ensure we go first, because I don't want to have to take another attack from him. His attacks are pretty strong. So we'll go ahead and put those 2 cards down. I've put the 13 as my top card, and then for the Tinker, well, the Tinker is going to want to set another trap. That's what we're going to want to do. So once this demon, in my plan at least, is to push the demon back here, these particular locations, or that particular spot, actually ends up doing half of what a normal, half the damage of what a normal trap would do. It's called hazardous terrain. It's different than like difficult terrain where it's hard to move through. This one's more about, it actually does hit you for damage, but it's different in that it doesn't go away. It's always there. So I can push him, I can keep pushing him back into this, and he keeps getting hit by it, but it's only half of the damage of a regular trap. And we know from our solo chart, it said our trap damage is 4, so we'd only be hitting him for 2. It's not really that strong. Oh, and actually, speaking of which, I just totally forgot something that I'm sure is in the comments already. But don't worry, I just caught it, just thought about it now, and that's Retaliate. We have Retaliate on the Craighard, and he was hit with melee at the end of the last round. He is going to move this to the first area on his 6 attacks that he can use this for. He doesn't get an XP right now, but he does inflict 2 damage against the Earth Demon. So good thing I caught that, because, I mean, we need all the help we can get against this guy. So don't worry, guys. If you put your comment in already, just go on over to that section and just hit that delete button. It's already caught. Don't worry about it. Okay. So, anyway, moving on. So, we need to pick our Tinkerer ability. So, let's picture that this guy happens to end up on this trap. He ends up getting hit for 2 damage because we push him back. Then the real question is, do we want to go ahead and drop a proximity mine right here? Now, if we drop it here, he's not gonna go through it. He's gonna try to avoid it. So, really, I don't know. I don't really know how that's gonna pan out, because we don't really have enough stuff blocking everything to cause him to get hurt just yet. I'm not too sure. Like, they're not stupid, essentially. And the way that Issac has created this is that these guys will take the long route around to avoid getting hit by a trap, unless it's the only way. So I'd have to basically block this off in order to force him into anything else. And if I push him to here, he essentially can move in like a whole bunch of different directions. So it's not really like that plan was 100% foolproof, but not bad. I don't know, it's just not gonna be as perfect as I thought it was gonna be. We can stun him though, and that might be worth it. So we'll do a 20 on stun. We know that Craighart's got a 13, so it's good that the stun would happen afterwards and keep him in place. Not that that matters too much, because he just means he can't do anything on his turn. So we'd stun him. We'd also get to attack him, which is a plus, and then we can do something on the bottom. So what might be worth it is to get some movement going and get out there maybe and steal a coin, or try to run as far as possible, maybe split up a little bit. I don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe a really bad idea. I could also move to and heal, but I don't really want to be around when this guy kind of gets back up. Although if I'm stunning him, he's not going to move. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do the move 2 and the heal all Jason allies, which will just bump up the Craighart. So that seems pretty good. 17, 13. Maybe I'll just use a 17 first then. So there we go, done. Okay, so we know our cards, 13 and 17. Okay, now we're gonna come over here to the Earth Demon, flip this over, and he got a 71. So he seems to go late in almost every situation. And you can see if he ever happened to actually go early, he has some pretty powerful abilities in that he can use elemental, the earth symbol there, or the leaf, in order to inflict some serious damage and hit more than one person. So we'll go ahead and start with our Craighheart, because that's who we put first in his first initiative order. And we can kind of follow through with his attack. So we're going to go ahead and do this first because, well, it just makes sense. So we're going to go ahead, and the reason, again, guys, that I picked this card in the first place was just to go first, not to use these two cards for any reason, but it does have a move too that I might use. So we'll use this attack 3, range 3, and then we'll do that attack first, and then we'll also consume the element in order to push him back. So let's do the first attack. So 0 is, we didn't get anything off it, but 3 damage is 3 damage, so there's nothing to really pout about in that one. So he's got 5 damage on him now, which isn't bad. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to consume that element down. We're going to shove him back 2. That's going to trigger this particular thorn patch, which is considered a regular trap, and 4 is the damage for a scenario. But because it's a hazardous terrain, it's half that. So 2 damage go on to him. So he's now got 7 damage. So we've got him down. We need 11 more in order to kill him. We also get an experience point for that. So the Craighheart's going to boost up to 1. And I don't think, I'll just do a quick check here. Nope, I haven't been using anything for extra experience with him, so I didn't miss anything there. This card is now discarded. And then we can use this for move 2. So the question now is, we know that the Tinker is going to stun him. So I'm going to move 2 at this point, get the Craighheart right here to pick this coin up. He's going to snatch it, and that's the end of his turn. And then we're going to put this in the discard pile as well. Okay, then we're going to move over to the Tinker. The Tinker's got, now this is where things get interesting. The Tinker doesn't go first in this case because now he has a summoned on the board. He's summoned the Harmless Contraption, and I actually have I can tell you right now, or sorry, it's the Summon Decoy. So I've got my bagpipe gnome thing there going, and he can move 2. And basically how he works is he'll always move with a modifier of move 0, attack 0. He moves like an enemy, and that's how he moves. And then it's just all modified based on these stats. So he's always going to move, and he's just a decoy, so he doesn't attack. He's just there to essentially be a target for this guy to attack and suck up damage on. So I'm going to go ahead and move him 2, so he's going to stomp his way up to here. He's not useful yet, but at some point he will be, because he'll be able to suck up some damage. And then, let's see. So that's essentially that. And then now we can actually move ahead with the Tinker's turn. So the actual Tinker himself can do what he wants to do, and we're going to go ahead and do our stun shot. So stun shot is 1, and then we're going to go ahead to range 3. So, ooh, this is where things get ugly. 1, 2, 3. So we're short, right? So we're going to have to rethink this. Now we got to do this first. So we'll do the bottom half of this first, which is move 2, heal 1 to all adjacent allies. Works out pretty good because we'll go 1, 2. He's adjacent now to the Craighheart, so we actually get to pump the Craighheart up to 8. So healing him a little bit. This card is now discarded, and then we'll go ahead and we're going to do the attack 1, range 3, and stun. So attack 1 plus 0 is still 1, so not bad. Just got a nice hit on him. And then we're going to stun him, so that's always a plus as well. So we're going to go ahead and put a stun token on him, if I can find one. Sorry about that, guys. Just like let the camera stare at the ground there for a second. There we go. Buried at the very, very bottom. So he is now stunned on top of the thorns. And again, how the thorns work is when you move onto them that you get hit. So even though he's going to sit there and not move, he doesn't get hit again unless I push him back onto it. But yes, he's stunned, so he's not going to do anything on his turn. Now this card here can also be discarded. So then we've now completed all of the mercenary and summons, and we move to the next initiative, which is the Earth Demon at 71. He's too far away, he's stunned, he can't do anything because based on stun, you can't perform any abilities on your card whatsoever. The token's just taken off and your turn is essentially null and void. So there we go, done. So that is essentially it for this round. So then we do our regular cleanup. At this point, I'm not going to short rest yet. We're still in a battle, I still have cards. And it's likely that probably on the next turn we'll go invisible and have him concentrate on we'll likely have him concentrate on the decoy and maybe go after the decoy, and then we'll try to sneak around him and start landing on these tokens and see if we get lucky to potentially find an even numbered objective, which would be some of the root that we need, some of the good root that we need in order to create this medicine. So anyway, that's essentially it. Let me just make sure there's nothing else for shuffling. There's no cards that got pulled that needed to be shuffled. And there's no elemental strength changes. There's no short resting. So I think we have covered everything for this particular round and we're good to go. So if you guys are enjoying, please subscribe. I'm having a blast. We still have a lot of ground to cover, but we are making our way out there finally. And we've actually put quite a bit of damage on him and only suffered 2 total from the Craigheart because of that heal from the Tinkerer. So not bad. Anyway, until next time, guys, hope you guys are enjoying and keep on rolling solo.